Hello and good morning. This is Grillenheimer. This is backwards because I am recording backwards. I can see myself at the same time I'm recording. Um, I was trying to do it to where it wouldn't be flipped, but this just is better. I'm sorry. There's got to be a setting in this phone. I got a crown today. I'm trying to get used to it. Um, it's trying to set, yada yada yada, all that. But I got some of these things, and I'm putting these are already in a sleeve, but I'm also going to leave them in the sleeve and put them in a top loader. Um, and uh, just and, I got to thinking that I've really enjoyed the game. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't get to play with anybody. Unfortunately, do get I pit teams together, etc., and see what happens. And I'm not really rooting for any side exactly. Sometimes I do. I really liked my Ironhide, my three wide Ironhide group that I called Iron Sides. That was really fun. And going over the Insecticon deck that I recently put together was pretty neat. And doesn't mean it's always going to work. And I think most people that I've been looking at online actually have been only use a 40 card deck because it increases the percentage of the cards that you have in your deck to be pulled. Um, and even when I played that a past game and had uh, like a 21 star characters, 21 or 22, and I had the Ultra Magnus armor, which is 2 stars, and full loadout, which was 1 star. So I had a total of 3 stars in my deck. And I was actually still missing a star for a total of 25 in total. Yeah, they got whooped. But I never got to actually use the armor as an armor. I never pulled it, but I saw a lot of my cards as you're battling. Um, oh, I already have one on him, and and same with the other side, which I think it was the Insecticons, and I had one, and it was like the deluxe insect, the two. I can't remember who I was playing with, but I had one star battle card in the deck, and I never got to use that one either, and they still won. Um, and I forgot what EMP or EM, yeah, the where you get to tap all your characters. That's what it was. But I kind of have been thinking that maybe we need to. Golly, this one's really tight. Uh, Merging, if you're Christian. I know not everybody is. We do have a lot of non-believers. We have a lot of people, a lot of youngsters that love the game, that love playing the game, love playing arcade games, etc., etc. I guess I'm going to go ahead and put these Retgars in a top loader too. That and the funny thing is that I had this idea about a certain kind of marriage, and they were even talking something about similar at our church in Sunday school, I believe, but it wasn't with gaming. But in that everything you do, we need to be thinking of Christ. We need to be thinking, have God in our lives in everything we do, even if we're being entertained. Um, and so, with that thought in mind, if you're Christian, doesn't mean you have to be. And you do get together and you play a game. Oh, that's an idea. Let's see here that when you get together and you're coming from different areas, bless the game, bless yourselves, good sportsmanship, etc., etc. You're probably going to play at least a minimum of 3 games in a row. Um, and now we know and have a good time together. And boy, these are really heavy now. Well, you can hear that, cathode, uh, etc., etc. And we just need to enjoy each other's company. If we not only come together in fellowship, in worship, but we come in fellowship with eating. And what do we do before we eat? We bless the food. As believers in Christ, and et cetera, et cetera. And so if we are coming together in fellowship, doing whatever, maybe we really need, in everything we do, we need to be praising Him. So maybe we really should be praying at every congregation we do. There's some good there, and that's what's been fought so much, because so many people dislike it. So many people don't like it. Well, if it's against their religion, they don't have to participate, but they're going to have a loud mouth about it and go against it. So that should tell you a little something about that, because when I was a kid and I was in high school, back in my day, and we trudged 14 feet in the snow to school. No, we had, flame war. We had, in Ruckus, we prayed before the football games, before every football game. Whether it was our home game or an away game at another somewhere else, the other team would pray too. Didn't mean everybody there was Christian, but we were all in fellowship. We were all congregated. We were all playing for the safety of our players and praising God. Amen. That was it. What is the harm in that? For some people that want to throw away words in hate and spite and use 4-letter words all the time and put labels on us all, no matter what we believe, what we look like, what our color is, whatever. They have the gall, these people, to say, you can't do that, you can't say that, blah, 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 blah. And we're like, on the other side of the spectrum, we're having to look at them, at the people attacking us as Christians, that, okay, you without religion, basically, I know there's other religions, I'm not that ignorant, that, you who are with possibly without religion or without God, without Christ, are telling us we can't do what we like to do, what we are instructed to do. That's not harming you in any way. But and if you can put up with our prayers, we should be able to put up with your belly aching. But we can't put up with your belly aching, so therefore we have to take God out of everything. And they are the ones that seem to be full of hate, cursing a little worse than sailors left and right, and telling us what to do. Wow. That's the hypocrisy that we've been dealing with for decades. I was in high school in the late 80s. That's why a lot of us older guys enjoy these things, because we grew up on the original cartoon. It was iconic. It was made by adults with some adult humor, with a lot of puns, and it was cheesy, but it was good. and it was fun, and it was a ton of characters to keep up with. I mean, go think of Beast Wars. I'm getting off track here. Um, you know, the Christianity in the 80s was being attacked. It's always been attacked. But nothing so hateful and spiteful as it is being done today. Ever. I've never seen the magnitude of what's going on from social media to this station. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, the algorithms, etc., etc. I have never seen when in a country not that long ago, yeah, I live in the Bible Belt, and it's still a Bible Belt to some extent. Almost crumble to be able to still hold up the pillars and say, we don't want to back down, but yet we back down. I feel like Picard in First Contact when he's going over the Borg. It's like they come in, they destroy, they assimilate, and we pull back. They keep coming in, and we move back. We got to take a stand, and as Christians, we've got to do the same thing. That's why when it comes to sin, we don't hate you. We don't hate anybody. As Christians, as the church, we should not hate anybody. That is not in our makeup. It's not in our relationship with God, with Christ, and the people around us. Hate has nothing to do with it. But because God frowns upon sin, frowns upon bad behavior, we do too. Even though we are still somewhat broken people, we can still fall. We are imperfect when we live here. Until we are transformed into something else in the realm beyond this life. My train of thought's just all over the place right now, and I apologize. But that's sort of the attack on Christianity. Let me get back on that mindset. I'm just flabbergasted how many are how we're made fun of, how we are impugned, how we are attacked, how we are slandered. And all we are trying to do is show love. All we are trying to do is spread the love of Christ. That's it. We can't make you do anything. We can tell you about it until we're blue in the face. But we can't force our religion on you. And that's what the other people on the other side of the fence are trying to say, that we're forcing our religion on them. No, we can't. If the people that claim words mean nothing, they're the ones cursing. If they're the ones that claim words mean nothing, then our words must mean nothing to them. But it must be hurting them in some way, or they wouldn't be screaming as loud as they are and banging on tables and telling us to stop, you can't say that. Really. So where does free speech end? Where does free speech begin? If we can't stand up for ourselves as men, as women, as Americans, that's my question to you, is when do we... I'm sorry, we got construction vehicles out in our neighborhood, and it's a mess. I lost my train of thought again, because I'm never scripted. Crap. Because as Americans, as Christians, that's why we don't want to back down, because we do want to love everybody. Now, I cannot vouch for the bad Christians that are on the cultish side of things. They're probably not even Christian at all if they're not following some of the biblical rules and teachings of the gospel. And what I mean by the gospel, the teachings of Jesus in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. If they are not abiding by that, then they're not Christian. And then we can't lump all of the church together when you just have a couple of people being nasty and using bad language and spreading hate, and they're claiming to be Christians. Either their church is bad that they are a part of, or they're a plant. And they're trying to make the church look bad. With the left, Democrats, whatever. I don't want to say, because we have Christian Democrats. I've got a lot of friends here in the South that love their country, love their guns, and are Christian, and they vote Democrat. And I just want to say, do you know what you're voting for? But I keep my mouth shut. I don't say anything. I keep the peace. And they're still good friends of mine. I just keep my mouth shut when it comes to politics. And something I've had to learn as an adult, and I've had a video about that too, learning to keep your mouth shut. And that's, some young people don't get that. They see other people and other young people and some young adults out in the streets and picketing, and you don't know if they're picketing for is real or if they're being paid. You need to start thinking for yourself and saying, whoa, do I need to be a part of that? What are they really doing? Is there something else going on that's behind this mentality of the mob or the 12 people over there with signs? And we actually, my wife and I commute just about every day. Maybe changing next year, but and we were driving, and we'll drive by, and there's this park, and there'll be sometimes people picketing. And they're white people with Black Lives Matter signs, and I just kind of find it funny. And there's only like maybe 5 or 6 of them. The other day there was maybe a dozen. And the only living thing around them listening to what they're saying are the ducks and the geese, which was like surrounding them nearly. It was kind of funny. And then where I was working, there was a park nearby, and they're like, if you go outside, there's people picketing, be careful, blah, blah, blah. And as I'm driving to leave one day, I see the people picketing, and I'm like, there's less than 20 people. What are we afraid of? I mean, there's hardly anybody out there picketing. Did the media come out just to show off these people with their, a baker's dozen of people with signs? That's the picket. So you can't believe everything you see on TV. They're probably going to get as close as they can to about 6 to 8 people to make it look like there's a lot of people when there probably isn't. I used to have an old book called If It Bleeds, It Leads. And I read most of it. It was an interesting read. It was a lot of the same things over and over of an ex-journalist and this is an older book, where on slow news days, they would come up with stuff. So they would talk about like a school fight or something at a school, and you might see the legs of some kids, you might see the door of the school, and probably nothing happened that day except for one kid taunting another, and then they walked away and shook hands, and that was it. You don't know what's the truth anymore. And this is a book that's probably nearly 20 years now. 20 years old. Hello. Um, if it bleeds, it leads. And when I was a kid, my parents didn't like watching the news a lot because when I was little, this was shortly after Vietnam. Um, I'm not that old, but close. Because the news, they just loved showing almost blood and guts back then. There was no holds bars. They don't do that a lot now. They will show action and stuff blowing up and some stuff going in the Middle East. To some extent, we are still out there, from what I understand. But in the 70s and early 80s, the what was on the news, it was depressing. You think the news is bad now, and it still is, and a lot of it is fake. Some of it, they're twisting stuff around like you wouldn't believe, and you have to search well, high and low, just to find the real truth, because they will use the truth and bend it for their own needs. But I need to get back to work. I was just thought I'd make a video, try to get some of my homemade guys here in some top loaders, which I've already done. I was wanting to play a little mock game, but oh well, I'm just out of time. Oh, here's another one. He's a common. Oh, well, that's a Leader 1. She stuck the Bumblebee. A 12-star card. Attack 5, defense of 0, and attack of 6, and a defense of 0 on the other side. Maybe that's what I should have done with Backroad, because I got to thinking about that. Where is he anyway? I'm sorry, my train of thought is just all over the place. But I haven't really done a video like this, just sitting and talking. And I've gone way over 20 minutes. But, I made him, he's a 66 Mustang, so he's a 6 attack and 6 defense on both sides. So he would be you would need a bold and pierce deck to be able to take this one guy out. I haven't really tried him in play yet, but maybe I should have changed, and I can change that 6 to a 0 so easy, to where he's like a 6 attack and robot, 0 defense, to 0 attack and car and 6 defense or something. It would still have to be 6s involved, but right now he's powerhouse. I didn't mean that, and he's only a 10-star card with 11 health. So his health is average. It's less than Run Amok here, but he has like 4 and 2 on one side and 5 and 2 is a robot. So with that, what I was really wanting to, I didn't mean to get into politics so much. I apologize. I was just wanting to help you realize some of the bubbly of today versus the journalism of yesterday. It hasn't changed. Really and truly, they haven't changed. Fox is a little better than some of the ABC, the other cable news networks, etc. But, they have issues too. But you really have to dig deep to find truth. You really do. Teak. So, I didn't mean to get in politics too much, but more about the marriage of bringing your Christian background and gaming together. Okay, you locked your car. I doubt you could hear that horn going off. Uh, so with that, that's all I've got. I was just talking to talk and trying to get a little organized here. Oh, I need a lot of these guys need top loaders, so, which to help preserve them because I do like playing with them. I do like trying to play the game. And I got to get to work. And I can say that because I'm here in the South. I don't care. I like talking trying to use my father-in-law's voice, who's real Southern. He loves history and stuff like that. And my wife can't stand, you're making fun of him. You're making fun of him. It's like, and I had to apologize. I'm like, well, I apologize. I grew up on Rich Little. I thought imitation was the highest form of flattery. And I like talking that way. It's kind of fun to talk, talking like this. How you doing, but, and she's from Lower Alabama, too, that we call L.A., as a joke here in Alabama, because I am in Alabama. Okay, and her draw is actually more southern than mine. But what can you do? I mean, people, you can't play a victim. Don't be the victim. Step up, be yourself, take life by the horns. And sometimes, like I said, about holding your tongue, knowing when to talk, when to listen. Sometimes Christians need to be seen and not heard. On that same token, we also need to learn to let things go, especially when it comes to taunting and bullying. Sometimes bullying is nothing but teasing, and the other side has pulled out the word bullying from the past and calling this bullying. That's a video for another time, though. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. I didn't mean to go this long. But if you still like me, I appreciate it. Follow me along and check out some of my older videos. I mean, and another thing to note, if you made it this far, if you like this channel and you don't mind my voice and you kind of like my content, and whether it's the Transformers, games, or whatever, or biblical, the best way to utilize my channel would be kind of like more of a podcast. So it might be easier to just listen to me instead of actually trying to watch me, unless I'm pitting some Transformer cards against each other, where you can actually see what's going on, even though I do kind of commentate the game to some extent. But that's all I've got. I swear it is. Have a great day. Have a blessed day. Thank you for watching, and hopefully we'll get back on track with some of my normal stuff next time. And the truck is backing up. Tell me you can hear that. With that, thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time.